Morning, guys. It's John Borghese, Ericksonian hypnotist and new code NLP coach. And today I wanted to talk to you about hypnotic inductions, or more to the point, my favorites hypnotic inductions. And yeah, I like the sort of preconception that people have of hypnosis. You know, look into my eyes, or dangling the watch, stuff like that. And I think I've never been hypnotized that way. First of all, I find it a bit cheesy that the whole watch dangling thing and stuff, when it can be done much more elegantly than that. And my favorite ways of hypnosis are pretty much purely through influencing the other person's imagination. And I suppose you could say all hypnosis is about influencing the other person's imagination, putting them in a good space to begin with, and then I'd say relaxation is a part of it, but they don't necessarily have to be super relaxed, like zombie mode. You could have, and then it brings, there's another distinction to be made. Hypnosis isn't lay down and completely relax to whatever outcome you want. I think my definition is when you're in that imaginative state of mind, and you've got less of your critical thinking and more of your free-flowing imagination available, because critical thinking is good, but to be able to create what you want, you have to be able to imagine it. You have to be able to see it in your mind, to feel it, and to give it as much sensory property as possible. What I mean by that is, you could use all your five senses. Use all your five senses to make something real in your mind. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? You could even give it an imaginary taste. Excuse me. And to really take something into your awareness. And the way, for example, the MP3 I've released called Adventures in Creative Hypnosis Volume 1, which is available below this video. The induction there is a paragraph at the beginning, and I was asked by a friend today why it was more powerful than the others. And I worked out it's because I actually did a proper induction at the beginning, because I've posted a few videos up now, as you can see. And the induction on the Adventures of Creative Hypnosis, which is also a video on this channel somewhere, have a look round. Adventures in Creative Hypnosis Volume 1, which I highly recommend you watch. The induction there was very particular, and it doesn't really sound like an induction. It does not really close your eyes, because the minute I hear that, the minute I hear you will now relax, and in 10 seconds, no, I don't. I really don't like that form of hypnosis. It puts me off. It really puts me off, because it's just too formal. There's no. I won't say there's no imagination, because I won't discredit whoever writes that sort of hypnosis. But with all the language skills, with all the linguistic flexibility, linguistic imagery, a person, a therapist or a coach or a hypnotist or whoever's writing, an artist has available. There's, to put a bog standard, in 3 seconds, you will find yourself. No. I listened to a piece of hypnosis yesterday that was just incredible, and the thing is, it doesn't even sound like it's hypnosis. It sounds like it's someone talking to you, which is what I aim to do when I'm writing. I mean, obviously, the adventures in creative hypnosis. That's a that's a more quote unquote formal piece of hypnosis than anything else. Oh, by the way, I'm not trying to hypnotize you now. I'm just explaining what I do with the tools that I have, with the language that I use. Just to talk you through what happens in creative hypnosis. The first video, and generally what I do is I go out of my way to really create an experience for you. So if you see this video, you hit me up on Facebook. It's Inner Rhythm Flow or John Bass Live. I use an alias, sorry. Or you can hit me up on the Google Plus. I want to have some Google Hangouts, as I've said in my previous videos and the videos before that. I'd love to have some Google Hangouts with you guys to start this being a two-way conversation, because I'm going to do this live so people can watch it live and enjoy it. Where was I? Inductions. Yeah, what I'll do with the creative hypnosis is I'm going out of my way to, as I said, A, create a special experience for you, and B, push myself linguistically, because I love language, as you can probably tell, and I'm really trying to get to a new level with what I'm doing, and pushing the possible limits. That there's no limits. I'm just pushing myself, in short. So what it could be is just to give you a sort of an idea. I would involve to my type of induction that I'm working and developing is based around sort of the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. That's sight, sound, and feeling. And you evolve those three into an induction, and then I find that using a very curious tone of voice helps with these things. So I'll sound a bit like this, a little bit more curious about what's going on, and I'll lower my voice too, because that helps to engage the attention of the other person, and it works really well. I've had some very positive feedback from all the lovely people who have really enjoyed Adventures in Creative Hypnosis. It's nice. Thank you very much for that feedback, guys. So, I mean, the other inductions, the thing I'd like to practice is full-on kinesthetic inductions. No words at all. I've done it once. That was with a very dear friend of mine, and that was very interesting because it happened spontaneously out of the blue. I didn't know really what I was doing at the time, and it was an experience. It was a very, very special experience. So that's more physical. So that's more sort of hands on the other person's body, respectfully, obviously. But because we're so heavily reliant on language, and that's a good thing. It's a good skill to have. But what would happen in a situation where you were to hypnotize someone without using any language whatsoever? Now there's an interesting concept, because you'd have your visual, so you could maybe stare at them, which could work. no, it would work, because eventually, if you're staring at someone else, you're both going to go into a very deep trance. You know, if you're connecting with them and making profoundly meaningful eye contact, which you would be doing in hypnosis anyway, that would, that would trigger a trance. That would induce a trance in itself in both of you. And the outcome of that's something probably worth trying. If you're getting into hypnosis, or you want to practice, you want to have an experience in what hypnosis actually is, just staring at someone for, and make sure they know what you're doing. They're playing the game too, because that would be very strange if you were just, staring at some random person. But, and the other thing is the kinesthetic stuff. So, it's like what we do in NLP is the yes/no signals, the unconscious yes/no signals, and that's, standing someone up, putting their chin up, and getting them to, getting their unconscious responding so they can sway. So that's another way of doing quote unquote induction, because technically, the what they call the 6-step reframe in NLP is in changing behavior is a it's an induction of sorts. It's a kinesthetic induction, excuse me. It's a kinesthetic induction, and maybe that would be something to try in the future. So, inductions are constantly evolving. The way you induce a trance, a hypnotic trance, or a hypnotic frame of mind, I would probably say, more to the point, because what's being in a trance and not being in a trance? What's the difference? When similar to the line between art and therapy, I don't really see a clear line between trance state and normal sort of waking state. You're always in a trance of some form or another, because you can never be completely conscious of everything that's going on around you, inside you. Like you could the example that is used the most, and I find it an interesting, useful example to think about, is when you're driving and you suddenly realize that you've been driving for the last half hour. If you're on the motorway or the highway or the freeway, whatever it is, and you've been driving for the last half hour, and then you suddenly snap out and you realize, wow, okay, where have I been? Who's been driving the car? Your unconscious has been driving the car. That's who. And you've been, thinking about, oh, well, you've got to, okay, I've got to meet this person. Oh, don't forget to do that. Yeah. And then you suddenly come back. You've been in a trance. You've been in a spontaneous hypnotic trance for the last, however long. So that's an interesting thing to take away. That really, you're always in some form of, not distraction, but your attention is always focused somewhere. And what we do with hypnosis is that attention is narrowed and deepened. So you could be thinking about 7 things. The mind can think about 7 plus or minus 2 things at once. So you're deepening that focus on one thing, or one feeling, or one thought, or something like that. And sometimes you might not. The beautiful thing about Ericksonian hypnosis and NLP in general is that you might not even be aware of what you're focusing on. So then that frees up your unconscious to actually say, this is what we want to do. This is the resource that we want. This is how we're going to actually do it. And that's there's been times when, I've used my own unconscious signals to say, is there something I need to change? And yeah, there is. And do I need to be consciously aware of it? No. And then I do the work to myself. So yeah, I think we're always in some form of hypnotic state of mind. And hypnosis is just a way to direct that very powerful attention and channel it into something productive. So I would say if you're practicing inductions, or you know, you want to learn more about you're just interested in hypnosis and you'd like to experience some hypnosis, either check out, you know, the Adventures in Creative Hypnosis, or we can have a hangout at some point, and you know, you can give me some ideas and we can try this. That I haven't tried this through. You know, this is the first time I'm trying to get some live feedback from people online, which is going to be quite strange to begin with, but it's going to be fun anyway. So yeah, get in touch, leave a comment if you want, and I hope to see you soon. I hope to hang out with you soon so we can do this for real, live, with some extra people. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Goodbye.